of three things is what I think could possibly explain that ending of Taizai. Number one, I am way beyond tired, and I've been up all night editing a vlog, and I'm probably beyond my capacity to understand a chapter, and I'm seeing things. Number two, something is in my coffee, and I need to probably fix my coffee. Or number three, Matrona is alive. All kidding aside, okay? I cross-checked. I cross-checked the character design of Matrona at the end of this chapter with the color page we got for, you know, Diane's backstory we got, you know, for the past 2 weeks. In the color page, we get to see a good glimpse at Matrona's body. Like, we got to see her design, her character, and stuff like that. And so I went back to the color page, and the biggest noticeable things you can see on Matrona is her scars. Those are the big things that really pop out when you look at her character design. And so I cross-checked between Matrona of the chapter's conclusion of this week's chapter and the color page we got 2 weeks ago, and the scars are in the exact same similar spot. So at first I thought it most likely was the girl that supposedly died with the, you know, the blonde hair that I said most likely was Matrona's sister. I thought it was someone like that. I thought it was her. But after cross-checking the scars, it's very obvious now after looking at it, that is Matrona. That is definitely Matrona. So, obviously from the character design, she's wearing human clothes. And that is a big sign of a lot of things that's probably happened to Matrona. As we know, in the flashback we got with Diane, Matrona was making fun of Diane's clothing because it looked like fairy clothing or human clothing, and she was, you know, picking on Diane because of that. But from what you can see in this chapter at the end, the final page clarifies that Matrona has become less savage, as I can say, because if you look at her, you know, clothing she wore when she was with Diane for the first time in the flashback, she wore these rags, pretty much. And in the chapter, you see how she has, like, human clothing on. So, obviously, she has changed for the better. Obviously. And the way she just says, "Hey, Diane," in the chapter, strange. Very fucking strange. Like, it really is strange. I have a lot of questions about that, but I'll get that into that in a moment. Thing is, from what I could see is, it's obvious that it is most likely Matrona, because the scars are the same, but something obviously happened because she's now wearing human or clothing. That's different from what she used to wear, and it's the exact same thing she used to pick on Diane for, so yeah, that's a big indication at the end of the chapter. Now, when it comes to her being alive, however, I don't really know how to feel about that. I really don't. It explains some complaints I saw Chibits make last week. I noticed a lot of complaints last week. Chibits were saying that it felt like the side story was rushed because the way Matrona was done as a character, she just got killed off like that, and everybody was kind of upset with that chapter. And I can understand that. I understand, you know, how people feel about that chapter. And so, it kind of makes sense if you look at it the way it was done with the structure of the side story. It kind of makes sense now since Nakaba Sensei was trying to keep Matrona around the entire time. But we don't know. That there is a possibility that it is not Matrona. We gotta go figure. I mean, there is a possibility it could be someone in disguise. I mean, we do know people can disguise themselves as different people in Taizai. That can be someone else entirely. Like, that possibly could not be Matrona. So, we still have to wait till next chapter to really find out. But even if it is Matrona, at the moment, I really don't know how to feel about it. There's a lot of questions I have, of course, after this chapter. I mean, for one thing, the power scaling. Like, fuck. The power scaling in this chapter. What the fuck? It made me scratch my head when I saw what Matrona was doing to 2 commandments. Did you see what the fuck she was doing? Like, okay, I mean, we can argue that the commandments aren't at full strength. Well, we know that. But still, Matrona's that fucking strong? Like, yo, I didn't think Matrona would be that strong to be able to fight no. So something has obviously happened. Something really obvious has happened to Matrona in the time span since Diane has actually seen her. The bigger question I have right now, actually, that's really fishy about this entire ordeal is, why hasn't Matrona tried to contact Diane? That's the big question we should be wondering right now. See, as we know from the ending conclusion of the side story, Diane became a sin because of the false accusation of her murdering Matrona. And so you have to think about this, okay? If that's true, why didn't Matrona try to fix this? Like, why didn't Matrona try to contact Diane? You would think, after you have this entire speech, and you say something like you do to a girl, you finally open up your heart, like Diane, and then you're alive still, wouldn't you try to contact that person? Especially when she's been accused of murdering you? See, a lot of questions I have right now. See, why hasn't Matrona tried to contact Diane? Big question. Because we do know from the flashbacks we got, and, you know, from the backstory, Matrona wanted to raise Diane to get stronger, to be a part of the Giants clan, you know, because she had a great strength inside of her. And so you got to think about this, like, why wouldn't she want to contact Diane? See, there's a lot of mysteries that are just not adding up with this chapter. It's not adding up. So, hopefully next week, Nakaba-sensei will try to clarify what is going on in this chapter. For the most part, the chapter structure, it's pretty simplistic. It really is. The majority of the chapter is Diane pretty much having memory loss, as we know. She doesn't remember what the fuck is going on. She encounters, you know, Golan. He, of course, wrecks her, and which was very obvious that was going to happen, but which in turn has it to where Matrona pops up, puts the two commandments running back. Like, they're like, oh shit, they actually are kind of slightly getting wrecked. So, a lot of questions. A lot of questions. This chapter is just like a bunch of questions I have right now. Like, I don't even know how to react to this chapter because there's just so many questions I have right now because it just leaves me like, okay, so the Ten Commandments getting fucking wrecked by Matrona. Okay, so Matrona obviously wasn't this strong in the past. Okay, but why didn't she contact Diane? See, a lot of these questions are just like, what the fuck? Now, beginning part of the chapter, we come to find out that Merlin really can't use any of her magic at the moment. And that actually clarifies a lot that I said in my last review before, you know, the side story came about. As I said, wouldn't it be possible for Merlin to just teleport them to Diane since she's running away? I remember saying that in my review. We come to find out, since Merlin is, you know, out of her body and she's forced herself inside of her little, you know, magic orb, she can't use any magic. Like, she can't mainly use any magic. It's using all her magic just to sustain herself in that little ball, her crystal orb. So, yeah, Merlin's kind of just there to be there. That's kind of what it is at the moment. So that clarifies quite a bit. Merlin's OP skills are really not there at this time, which fucking sucks. So that's pretty much the chapter. I mean, I'm a little bit tired here. I probably missed a couple details, but shit, dude. Anyways, chapter, it was good. It was a good chapter. Like I said, I have very mixed feelings. I have mixed feelings about that conclusion final page. It leaves me with a big what the fuck, because I don't know how to accept that right now until I see the writing to why Matrona is alive and also why she has to contact Diane. But judging by Nakaba-sensei, you know, usually he'll explain it. So I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how it's handled, but we'll just have to see. So mixed right now. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.